Hey guys, it's Wahima, but just call me Wah. Melanated! Welcome to another episode of Morning Tea, where we sit in our sleepwear and discuss current events. Today's tea is iced chai green tea. Well, it's less of ice and more of just like not hot. I drink equal amounts green chai tea as I do black chai tea. I'm trying to like pull myself away. I don't know why. I'm told that green tea is better for you. So let's get started with this episode of Morning Tea. Here's the tea. So first, I just want to talk a little bit about politics. I know I haven't talked about it in a long time, but something big just happened, and then something else happened a while ago that I didn't talk about. So the US president decided to pull out of the agreement with Iran. It's just one of the many things that he is breaking down from Obama era. He claimed that it was a terrible deal while he was running, and it was going to be one of the things that he was going to pull out of. Not a Stormy Daniels reference. He first pulled out of the Paris Agreement, right? Remember when that happened? And then he also changed some of the rules on Cuba, transgender in the military. Something I wanted to talk about is net neutrality. When it happened, I didn't talk about it. What net neutrality is the idea that the internet is a utility, just like gas, electric, and internet providing companies can't just decide to charge you more for looking on certain websites, right? So we have what's called like an open policy in the US. Some countries don't have access to YouTube, for example. Some countries don't have access to Facebook. Like, they have to use proxy IDs in order to get access to certain websites that are freely available here in the US. And that's what net neutrality is. It's a way of trying to stop providers like Verizon and AT&T from making internet service slower for certain websites, meaning that the net is not neutral, right? So what we want is for the net to be neutral. We don't want to have to pay Charter Communications $500 a month in order to be able to have access to everything on the internet. I'm being extra with it, right? So it's not, hopefully it's not ever going to get to $500, but a lot of times when places have monopolies on areas, they can charge whatever they want for certain services provided. And we don't want that with the internet, because that's going to definitely slow down the way we consume information and how information is out there. Net neutrality was something that Obama really pushed for, and the president had decided last year, at the end of the year, that net neutrality would go back on the table as something that lawmakers would fight for the people. And you know how that works, right? So companies pay a lot of money to lobbyists. Lobbyists bug the shit out of and pay off politicians to vote yes or no on certain things. And with net neutrality back on the market, the very rich aren't necessarily going to be affected by the fact that they may have to pay more for their internet service. It's really gonna affect those with children who are in school, who use the internet. People in general, regular people are gonna be affected by this. And so if politicians' bank accounts are being padded by lobbyists who are special interest lobbyists for Charter Communications, Spectrum, AT&T, Verizon, all these big conglomerates who provide the internet to us, it kind of F's us, right? So that's not something that we want to ever be up for grabs or up for negotiation. Going back to Iran, another thing that's bad about that is that Iran has a lot of uranium and nuclear power, and they were building up their nuclear power program, which was like, everyone was scared, right? So they went into negotiations with the US, the UK, France, Germany, and some other big names, and they had this agreement, the Iran agreement, that tariffs and sanctions would be lifted, certain trade would be able to happen between the countries. Iran just had to chill on their nuclear weapons program. They had to chill with the uranium, they had to chill, you know, bringing all that stuff up. I don't know what the exact deals are, but Trump said that the deals were bad and that he would pull out of them if Iran didn't change some things. And so all these people agreed on it, you know, when Obama was president, and they signed everything, and Trump pulled us out of it. So he like broke an agreement. Now we don't know exactly what repercussions are gonna happen. UK, France, and Germany are kind of just like, you know, hey Iran, just because the US backed out of it doesn't mean we are. We still have our agreement going, good and going, right? And Iran's like, yeah, yeah, well, I'm gonna give us a time to think about it. It's a short period where we're gonna get back to the table, and the US can come back to that table, or they could not, and that's on them. And it doesn't look like the US president is gonna go back to the table to discuss anything. It looks like he's decided that it's no deal, it's no good, and he's gonna pull out of that agreement. I don't exactly know what that means for the price of oil. I don't exactly know what that means for our country, but we'll wait and see. So, I mean, I know I haven't talked about politics in a long time, but things are happening. You know, policies that were put in place are being overthrown and changed, which is their right. But I want to know what's going to happen instead, like what those repercussions are going to cause in the long run. All right, so let's move on. Here's the tea. R. Kelly. So R. Kelly is upset because 2 more women have come forward, and he's saying that his legacy is being tarnished with this sex cult he supposedly has, and he's very upset, even though the other day he was spotted in a store buying something with one of the girls who was apparently underneath his control. I mean, I don't know what else to say about R. Kelly. He's trash. He's definitely canceled. He's one of the few people that are canceled for me. I'm still having a hard time letting go some of the music. I'm gonna be 100% honest. It's not like Bump and Grind is my ish, but he has this song with Lady Gaga that I enjoy, and there are other jams that come up that I'm just like, oh, I'm not supposed to like this song. Dun, 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 dun. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I never really loved R. Kelly. I actually hated his whole entire like hip-hop drama. What was it called? In the Closet? To the Hide in the Closet? I didn't like any of that. I don't know what it's called. But anyways, I didn't enjoy it. I just hope he gets his day in court, because R. Kelly has been treating black women like trash for I don't know how long, and I'm over it. I'm over it. I don't feel anything for Robert Kelly. Nothing. All right, let's move on. Here's the tea. Ooh, Donald Glover, This Is America. That music video, I have been watching it. Like, I watched it 3 times in a row. First, I was like, oh my God, look at him go. I was like, yes, Donald, get it, get it, get it. Or Childish, get it, get it, get it. And then I started to realize what was happening in the background. I got the lyrics. So I'm just kind of like, it felt... There's a lot going on. First of all, it's different than his musical style. I'm not sure if he actually hooked up with Young Thug or if it's just him, but it's in a style of rap that I'm not used to from him. So I was thinking, like, is he making a commentary on like the way rap is now? But I don't think so. I think he's just like, this is kind of this genre. Hey, hey. I do like the chorus. Like, I like the background music. It gives me like choir, gospel, African like movement. I really enjoyed that. He's shirtless in it, which I was just like, I don't understand what's going on. I mean, it's just so much imagery in such a very simple set and a simple setup. He was recently on SNL. He was the musical guest and the host of SNL. So like, Donald Glover is doing some really, 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 really big things. And I'm excited for this album, this Childish Gambino album. This Is America. If you haven't heard it, check it out. I'll try to have it linked down below. Watch it 3 times. First, just watch it, then watch it again. And then the next time you watch it, don't pay attention to what he's doing. Pay attention to what's happening in the background. Pay attention to the way the guns are handled. Pay attention to his sort of vaudeville, like, let's dance over our pain type behavior. Speaking of being black in America right now. So there's some college students at University of Florida who were trying to celebrate their magic. You know what I'm saying? Their black girl magic, their black boy joy. And this professor was having none of it. So the way it works on like the Jumbotron is that the person walks up, you know, they have the emblem of the school behind them, and then they walk forward, and I guess they meet the person and get their like thing and walk that way. So the people walk up and they're like, hey! And immediately when they start to dance, this professor walks forward and like grabs them so that they don't dance in their space, right? So like their name gets called, they get up there, they do a little shimmy, and they move. But he was like moving them along as though dancing was not permitted. He like moved, hustled too. I mean, it was just like, it was too much. And everybody saw it. The entire crowd saw it. Because once your name gets called and you stand in that position, the camera is on you. And so you're doing a little like, hey, graduating from school, hey. And somebody comes up and just pulls you out of the space and thrusts you forward to keep the line moving. And it's just ridiculous. Like, it's so uncalled for that it's like crazy. I could see if they were causing like a huge backup and the name names were off and people, you know, were confused, but none of that was happening. They were taking their couple of seconds to express how they felt in the moment, and that professor decided that he was just going to remove them physically from doing their dance. And the university put out an apology saying that it was wrong and it was a gross mishandling of the situation and that shouldn't have never happened, and there's no rules saying that they can't dance. I can't imagine why you would like physically put your hands on graduates at their graduation in front of their entire family, in front of everybody, in front of the school. It's like, it seems like he was just mad that, I don't know, like hating. That's the only thing I can think of. Is like only a hater would behave in that way. It was so uncalled for. I'm really glad that the university got in front of this. I'm not sure how long ago this graduation was, but they did step up and apologize. Oh, and speaking of apologizing, here's the tea. So at a Nordstrom Rack in Brentwood, St. Louis, there was a little situation that could have escalated to being something ridiculous, but the police officers and those involved handled it well. So these 3 kids are in Nordstrom Rack. They're buying clothes for prom. I believe 2 of them have already gone to their prom and like are like 18 or 19, so they're like in college or whatever, but one of them is searching for prom. So they're in there and they notice that like they're being followed, that there's like, you know, an energy about them from the sales associates, and they're just like, whatever, they're following us because we're black. So they go and buy something, right? They buy it just to prove that they could, and then they leave. And once they leave Nordstrom's, they run into the police. It turns out that the people at Nordstrom's Rack had called the police in order to catch them stealing. So they exit Nordstrom's, they walk out, they see the police, and of course they're agitated, right? They're upset, but also they're scared because now the police is standing outside of the Nordstrom's that they just came out of. They just had this whole embarrassing, humiliating situation inside Nordstrom's where they could tell that the people were following them and talking about them and judging them. They get outside of the police is there. What do they think as young black men? That one of them may die, or that they're gonna get harassed or beat up. Like, they don't know what's gonna happen. So they come out and the police stop them and to have conversation with them. And apparently they're agitated and aggressive as any human being would. Kudos for them, because it had been me, I would have been on the ground crying, "Don't kill me." Right? So the police officers apparently let them listen to the call that they got. So they had the dispatcher replay the call from Nordstrom's, and it settled the kids a little bit because they were able to go, okay, the police officers are willing to talk. So they had the conversation with the police officers. There was no arrest made. The police officers determined that they did not steal anything, and then they had a conversations with Nordstrom Rack. Nordstrom's Rack's president is going to come out to have a conversation, or CEO, I'm sorry, is going to come out and have a conversation with 3 boys, and they've put out an apology saying that their store manager did not handle that well, and that they don't want any customers to feel treated like that when they're in the store, and that they're, you know, heartily sorry. And again, I think everyone's learning from the Starbucks incident that they need to err on the side of caution when certain things like that happen, because their whole shit could get fucked up just because their store manager or the manager of the area is upset about people stealing. I'm being in retail like all of my life. We used to let people steal. Like, our managers used to be like, don't try to catch anybody stealing. Like, let them take it. That's not our job. Like, you know what I mean? We never called the police on anybody. Like, they were just like, it's lost. That's what it is. Like, people steal. People come in and steal. Like, you're not trying to catch anybody in it unless you have like a huge problem with it. And therefore, you know, you have security that's inside of the building to do it. And even so, they don't call the police until after you have exited the building and security sees the product on you without the receipt. Then they call the police. So the fact that security, as far as I know, didn't even stop them and have the conversation, they didn't even get pulled into the office, get the opportunity to say, yo, we didn't steal anything, that they called the police immediately so the police could meet them on the outside. You know, I don't call the police unless I feel like my life is threatened or in danger, and I don't think anyone else should. What's the next thing? Oh, DJ Khaled. Here's the tea. Now, I don't want to shame nobody, because I feel like what you choose to do in your life, in your bed, with your partner, or whomever, is your personal business. I do think that the Breakfast Club is shady for putting out a video from 2014 that nobody really paid attention to or remember, because I sure don't remember it. But DJ Khaled saying that he would never go down on his wife. Listen, I don't want to judge that. I don't care. He could just say he's not into it. That's not his thing. Him and his wife understand each other, and it's not required. But he literally went beyond that and tried to like explain away his machismoism. He tried to explain away his chauvinistic, his very like his patriarchal sense of being, which makes sense. There's so many cultures that the patriarchy is like real strong in, and perhaps DJ Khaled comes from that. Maybe in his family, like, women bow down to men, you know, women are revered as well and they're respected, but they also come second to men, and that in his world, a man going down on a woman is something that would never happen because it's a diminishing of his power. Perhaps that could be his thing. Like, maybe he doesn't even know if he would like it. He just knows that in his, you know, spirit, that's not what he's there to do. That's fine, because there could be men who just like aren't into it. There are some women who aren't into going down on their man or any man, which is fine. I don't want to force anybody to do anything sexually they don't want to do. You feel me? Like, not at all. But the fact that he tried to make it seem like it wasn't natural because he's a man and that he was expected to have her do that to him because she should bow to him because he's the king, it was just too much. Like, girl, if you don't want to, you don't want to. Just say you don't want to, but you don't have to like try to explain some sort of biological or like mystical, magical king and queen nonsense. Just say you don't like it. If his wife is fine with that, if she doesn't care either way, who cares? I surely don't. I don't think anyone should be forced to do anything sexually, but to put airs on it and dress it up as though it's like biology or natural or like you're right as a lion in the kingdom, like, no. All right, you guys, that is it for this episode of Morning Tea. Please let me know what you guys think about the stuff I talked about down below. I'm interested in having a conversation with you. I got this shirt from Fashion Nova. In case you wanted to know, I don't have links to it because Fashion Nova don't pay nobody for no links, especially not me. But I just want to let you guys know that's where I got it from if you were at all interested. All right, you guys, remember to be you, be true, and find your place. Bye.